Welcome to Coastside Poetry. Thanks to those of you who've zoomed in and those who are watching on YouTube. I'm Diane Lee Mumi, and Steve Long and I are your hosts this evening, where we meet once a month to celebrate spoken poetry. This event is being recorded and streamed live onto YouTube as we speak, so anyone can look at it later. And we'll be posting a link on the website, coastsidepoetry.org. This evening, we welcome East Bay poet Johanna Ely. Johanna is the author of 4 poetry books: Transformation, Tides of the Heart, Poems for Benicia, Postcards from a Dream, and What Still Matters. She has also co-authored a book with 3 other women poets titled Love's Meditation. Johanna is an award-winning poet who's been published in literary journals and anthologies, including California Quarterly and the Poeming Pigeon. She's been nominated for a Pushcart Prize and was the 2022 winner of the Benicia Love Poetry Contest. Johanna served as the 6th poet laureate of Benicia, California, and is on the board of the Ina Coolbrith Circle of Poets, one of the oldest poetry groups in California. And now, please welcome Johanna.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Diane and Steve, and I'm really excited and happy to be here tonight. And thank you for giving all of us a welcoming space to share our poetry. Tonight, I'm going to be reading from 3 books, and I'm going to be reading poetry that's a little more personal. It's going to be poetry about my family and some personal memories. And I'm going to start with Postcards from a Dream. And this was published in 2020 by Blue Light Press. And I'm going to start with a poem. I hope my voice holds out. A poem about my great-grandmother on my mother's side. And the poem is titled Isabel. Oh dear. I'm sorry. Oh no. After all these years, I finally cradle your photograph in hand and wonder who you really were. All the women and men who loved you are gone. Your story gone with them. Your looks do not resemble mine. You, great-grandmother, born of German father and French mother, have pale white skin, curly hair pulled up into a soft cloud. I admire your strong jaw, how your dark, handsome eyes stare out beyond mine at something I will never see. Nor will you again place the summer's pink peonies in a porcelain vase, or have your husband touch the ruffled black lace falling off your shoulder. Your beauty, long preserved in platinum light, remains unchanged, framed and circled with tiny round pearls and tarnished silver flowers. while Indiana starlight stays the same and keeps your secrets for eternity. Isabel, except for the faintest hint of smile, you leave me nothing. I wish I had your name. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I'm having this coughing attack. I do have some asthma, but I did the inhaler earlier today. So I hope I can continue. I'm going to try. Okay, the next poem is called The Gift, and it's in memory of my mother. In those first days, I kept my poems hidden, let them ripen in notebooks like a strange fruit that was not quite ready to be eaten. One year for your birthday, I gathered 8 of them together, sing-song typed them on thin rice paper, hole punched and placed them in a paper folder the color of sunflowers. Each poem bloomed in silence, waiting to be read. Years passed. You never mentioned the poems, and neither did I, assuming I had disappointed you. After you died, I found the folder and took it back, stuck it between books on a shelf like a love letter I had never mailed. You had written my name on the front cover, my childhood name, printed in black ink and underlined. Tonight, I open the folder and read each poem out loud, wondering if somewhere on a page, your invisible fingerprints linger, listening. Thank you. I think I'm recovering slowly. Okay, this next poem I wrote for my son when he was in 2nd grade. He experienced death for the first time. And this poem is called It Wasn't Your Fault. Years later, I am here to tell you, in the way only a mother can, that it wasn't your fault your dog got hit by a car and died that April morning when you were 8. The world was still full of promise, when until that moment you had never known death. It wasn't your best friend's fault either, though you blamed her. The gate left open, both of you excited to go to Disneyland for the first time, running in and out of the yard, and your pure happiness precluded caution. How were you to know we spin the wheel of chance throughout our lives, that we are blind to the signs of tragedy? And like you and your dog, ignore danger and follow joy. Forgive yourself and your friend. Forgive your dog too. It is in our natures, both human and animal, to make that choice, to run out that open gate and keep going. Thank you. Okay, this next book is What Still Matters. Oh, the light's in the way. What Still Matters. And it was published this fall by Last Laugh Productions. And I'm gonna start with a poem that was written during the pandemic. I live next door to a children's ballet studio, and during the pandemic, they put up a tent in the parking lot so that the children could practice. And being isolated, it was just really wonderful to be able to go out on my back deck and look over into the parking lot and occasionally hear some really beautiful music and watch these little girls dance. And also it brought back a childhood memory of, I think I took ballet lessons for a short period of time when I was little. The poem is titled The Ballet Studio. Next door to my house, the ballet studio has an outdoor stage protected by a white tent. At night, the tent breathes in the wind, rustles and flaps like a restless swan dancing in the darkness. During the day, notes of classical music and old show tunes waft in through my bedroom windows. I hear the teacher snap her fingers, count the beats. I hear the thumps from landed leaps. Imagine young girls in black leotards doing a plie, bending at the knees, lifting arms above heads, fledglings learning to spread their wings, to land on a branch gracefully. A yearning rises up in me, a longing for another time when all that mattered was the dance. On Saturday mornings, I hear the teacher tell the 5-year-old dancers to pretend they are flinging flower petals in the air. It is autumn and the roses are in decline, but for the little ones, it's still spring, and they are blossoming ballerinas. How they must love to bend down and gather the invisible pink petals in their small, rounded arms. I stand in my bedroom, scoop up wilted memories with my wrinkled hands, toss them clumsily towards the ceiling, not caring where they land. When the teacher plays Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, my eyes tear up. I wish I was one of them, a little girl who still believes that when the music starts and the dancers twirl, everyone twinkles and shines. Thanks. And this next poem is a childhood memory. How many of you remember cootie catchers? Anyone? Okay, well, we used to make those at school. And actually, I saw a poem online where the poet had used a cootie catcher to write her poem. And I cut it out and I put it together. And from that came this poem. And it's called Cootie Catcher as Origami Flower as Poem Maker. I am terrible at origami, can't follow the steps, complete the intricate folds, wanting so badly to make a box or a crane out of delicate paper. A poet reinvents a childhood game, her cootie catcher now a poem maker. I tell myself I can do this, cut out the paper square, print words inside the smaller squares and triangles, find an online video to remind me how to fold the corners into an origami flower that opens and closes, the way my heart opens and closes, filled with its old desires. I remember when cooties were the germs that girls and boys could catch from touching each other, how quickly we realized we wanted that touch. Cootie catcher, fortune teller. I pick one of 4 colors, my fingers inside the flower, its paper petals opening and closing as I spell lilac, then the next word and the next, choosing each one carefully, unfolding the hidden phrase, finding my heart's poem. Lilac shadow, dream I emerge from, changed. And I'm reading this next poem because I think last summer I read it here at Coastside and people seem to enjoy it. So I'm going to read it now. Artichokes. I always think of them as a rare delicacy, though their ancestors grow wild in California hills, flowering brilliant purple in early summer. How exotic to eat a thorny thistle with my fingers, to open a large bursting bud, carefully pulling back the steamy green bracts, dipping each one in melted butter, my teeth scraping off the soft skin from each petal until only fuzzy choke and heart remain. Ah, the unprotected heart, supposedly the best part. I leave it on my plate. Perhaps you will crave its fleshy sweetness, so tender and exposed. Thank you. So when I was little, my mom had this bronze statue in her front yard, and I always felt like the statue was my little imaginary playmate. And when we moved to California, she brought the statue with her. And then when she died, I brought the statue into my backyard, and it's always been with me. And so this poem is called The Lost Child. She is a lost child, a fluttering sylph who once lived among the water lilies. Long ago, at the whim of a water god, her wandering spirit was changed into a bronze statue. Her face, her body, her long dress carried the patina of another world, colors of an ancient sea. She is the little girl who stood in the garden among my mother's purple pansies, the silent playmate who was my age, my height, the one who spoke to me without moving her lips, who ran without ever taking a step across the dark grassy lawn in the Illinois summer twilight. We chased fireflies and fairies, the sky above us a lantern of stars. Almost 70 years later, she is still a child, though now she stands in my garden. She is me and I am her, the silent one who listens to the trees speak, who watches the leaves blossom into a fiery sunset. She is the little girl who has always been left outside, exposed to air and rain. Her hollow eyes are filled with a strange light. Her arms hold a trailing bouquet of small, delicate flowers that never die. She remembers what I have forgotten, those other sad autumns. I talk to her, touch her bronze lips with my fingers, notice the tiny red maple leaf that settled on her arm. Thank you. And the third book is the most recent, Love's Meditation. Poetry by Mary Eichbauer, Johanna Ely, Lori Haley, and Deborah Bockel-Schmidt. And this just came out in December. We're really excited about it, and it's published by Random Lane Press. I'm going to read just one line from the foreword so you kind of get an idea what the book is about. The foreword was written by Bob Stanley. In creating Love's Meditation, 4 women draw on both ancient tales and recent memories to reveal their love for the world and their concerns for its future. So I'm going to read a poem that kind of brings me back full circle from the first one I tried to read, choking to death. And this is called Ancestors. Every day the light disappears sooner. This autumn afternoon fades like an old quilt. Squares of past lives covering my skin, stories of redemption worn thin. Ancestors, where have you gone? You have left me with no map for this journey. I have no stars to follow that hold the brightness of your eyes. I am your daughter, your granddaughter, swimming down the long white river of the Milky Way. Even though I am tired and lonely, I refuse to drown. What's left of you moves in leaf shadows on the walls of my house. I watch you dance until you disappear. See the stars I wish you were, shine without remorse. Silently call them your forgotten names. And I think that Mary and Deborah might be out there in the audience. I can't tell, but if they are, I hope maybe they'll read a couple poems from the book tonight. Okay, I'm going to end with a recent poem. I have two Japanese maple trees, one in the front yard and one in the back, and this poem is in the voice of the backyard tree. It's called The Japanese Maple. The woman has loved me for a long time, calls me the queen of her garden. My gift is providing shade and the constancy of change. My seasons becoming her seasons. Uncurling my tiny red fingers in spring, my large green hands catching light in summer. Scarlet stars falling from my arms in autumn. The dark silhouette of my body wet with winter rain. My children scattered around, one growing tall and strong among the hydrangeas, the other confined to a clay pot. I cannot change their fate, but every a song of fortitude, hoping they will listen. There is one like me in the front yard. We will never meet, but the wind carries our voices over the house, secrets shared, warnings heeded. I can't tell the woman what she'd like to know, how many years I was here before she arrived, seasons and cycles, my only sense of time passing. I feel her watch me from the house, her mouth full of questions, how my barely moving branches speak a language she almost understands. Thank you so much, and I apologize for my coughing attack, but I hope you enjoyed the poetry. I hope you were able to understand most of it. Thanks.
It was wonderful, Johanna.
Could hear it.
Now I've got a frog here. Sorry, you gave your frog to me. No. Thank you so much. I will invite folks to unmute and make noise. All kinds of noise.
Yes, wonderful. Wonderful.
Beautiful. Very nice.
Lovely, just lovely.
Thank you.
Love that artichoke poem so much.
Oh, thank you, Sandra. Let me
I want the heart that you left on the plate.
It made me hungry too.
Oops.
My sister was a ballerina.
I'm accidentally gonna leave this meeting. I'm not wanting to do that. Shoot.
Don't go.
No, I don't want to go. Let's see what's going on.
Would you like the spotlight removed from you?
Yes, I'd like to see everyone, is what I'm trying to do. Get back with the rest of you.
Apologies for that.
There we
go.
are. Oh, good. Okay. Hi, everyone.
I love your poetry. It's one of my very favorites.
Oh, thank you.
And I love the analogy and the freshness and the personalness, if there is such a word, of your poetry. I think it's nice that you write about your life and more personal poetry. It just really speaks to my heart.
Well, it was different for me. I don't know. Some of you know that I read at Sacred Grounds a month ago, so I wanted to do something different from that reading. So I decided to do more personal poetry for this reading. So I hope that was okay and that you enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank-
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Is that Sandy?
Mhm.
Sandy.
Hi, Claire.
Hi, Sandy.
I wanted to tell you, Johanna, that your poems are just like the first one in your book. They're tender and touch my heart.
Oh,
Thanks, Louise. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I want to say that the humanization of the tree is unparalleled. I just haven't heard anything as good as that. I mean, it's really unparalleled. Truly.
That was my favorite as well. They were all great, but that one just blew me out of the water.
Out of the water, right out of the water. It was unparalleled.
Thank you so much. Trees are my friends.
Johanna is actually a tree woman.
Yep. Hi,
How-
Deborah.
Hi, Johanna.
How can I get your poetry books?
Oh, that's right. I forgot to mention that. Yes, Postcards from a Dream and What Still Matters, they're both on Amazon. So you
Oh,
just
good.
put in my name and they should both come up. And if you want the one that the four of us have just done, you can go to randomlanepress.com. I think Mary and Deborah, who are here tonight, might put that information in the chat, I hope.
That would
I
be
did.
good if it can come in the chat.
Yeah.
I actually did
so-
put that link in the chat for Love's Meditation.
I have so many poetry books, and I declared I was going to lay off and not get any more, but I would love to have be able
Especially
to read over. There's so much there to read over your poems.
Thank you, Norma. But I
and
was
so
going to
much
say maybe
depth
wait
to
till
them.
you get your carpet replaced,
oh,
so you won't have two more books to move.
Well,
Oh, yeah. Well, they're
it's
light
a
ones.
harmless
I got
addiction.
some heavy ones. But those are light ones. I could maybe I could go off in a corner somewhere and read them while the front of the house is being carpeted.
There you go. That's a great idea. I love that. Thank you.
Well, I love your poetry.
Thank you. Well, it's good to see everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'm really happy, and I can't wait to hear your poetry now. So let's move on. Here's some other
well,
poetry.
thank you again so much, Johanna.
Absolutely.
And we'll stop recording in a moment. And those of you in the Zoom room, please stay online if you'd like to take part in the open mic. Thanks to our YouTube listeners. Please tune in for our next regular Coastside Poetry event on Tuesday, March 12th, which is not actually going to be a regular one. We're going to break our longtime pattern and have an evening of all open mic. So thank you so much for joining us tonight and for helping to keep the lamps of poetry burning.